Hello, welcome to Caledonia Senior Living and Memory Care, home of the Chicago Scots. Two important lessons we have learned from this pandemic. One, we are all interconnected. And two, we must do all that we can do to dignify the time that we share. Today, the Chicago Scots are absolutely thrilled to launch a new partnership that takes its cues from these two important lessons. Last year, the Royal Scottish National Orchestra created digital care packages featuring concerts and performances of their incredible music, and these were especially for seniors and staff in care homes in Scotland. Well, today, I'm so proud to announce that Caledonia Senior Living is the first community in the United States to be invited to join this program. Over the next few weeks, our partners at RSNO will send these digital care packages to the people who live and work at Caledonia to enjoy some amazing concerts. This week I was delighted to host a Zoom call with the orchestra's CEO, Alistair Mackie, and one of the greatest Chicago Scots, virtuoso violinist, and not a bad Scottish fiddler either, Barton. Rachel, incidentally, has performed and recorded with the Royal Scottish National Orchestra. We began our conversation by asking Alistair about their innovative program to bring music and joy to the people who live and work in communities like Caledonia Senior Living.
And of course, in the pandemic in particular with isolation, many of our friends in care homes in Scotland were even more isolated than the rest of us. They were allowed no visitors, obviously for very good reasons, but tremendously difficult time for them. So we wanted to try and reach out and to remain, as I say, to remain a gathering point for the communities in Scotland, which we serve. So we tried to design concerts that we felt would be uplifting, concerts that might give people memories of previous experience in the concert hall. But more than anything, I just think we wanted to send a message to say, we're still here, we're with you, and we're reaching out to share our music with you. And it was a privilege to be able to do that in Scotland, and it's a privilege to be able to extend that idea now to Caledonian Senior Living in America.
Whether you're a person with memory care issues or not, music goes beyond words for all of us and touches our hearts and stirs our emotions, and especially now when our emotions are so raw and perhaps so confused even, being able to just hear some music can help us just center ourselves and give us hope and optimism.
Alistair, could you tell us how the repertoire was chosen?
I think music that uplifts, music that has passion. I think the Barbara violin concerto is a great choice. It's my favourite violin concerto. It's a concerto I was introduced to as a young lad in a youth orchestra, and I've never quite got over it. And every time I hear it, I'm so touched by it. But of course, it's one of the most American of pieces, and Barber and his language really is quite unique, and he found a very unique voice for American music. So as opposed to have the Barber played by the Royal Scottish National Orchestra and our leader, Maya Iwabushi, I think that's a lovely connection. Dvorak, of course. I mean, you hear Dvorak, you just feel better.
I'm delighted to see that the composers that everyone is going to get to enjoy span from the 1700s all the way to the 20th century, and also composers from different parts of the world, from not only different European countries, but even the US. And it really shows you how music brings people together, how music is a universal language. And here we have a Scottish orchestra playing pieces by German and American and Polish and Czech composers, and it just shows you that music is something that we share universally, and great music is for everyone.
One other piece that we'd like to offer is an arrangement of St Kilda, songs from St Kilda. And I was trying to work out, my geography is not perfect, but I think this little rock that is St Kilda must be about as near to America as any piece of Scotland. It's right out in the Atlantic Ocean. And until the 1930s, humans inhabited that, tried to keep living there despite the incredible difficulties. But eventually in 1930, the community returned to the mainland. And there is this fantastic story about, I think, 2006, in a care home in Edinburgh. And there was a man playing a piano and nobody could work out what he was playing. No one knew the tunes. They were clearly Scots folk-based tunes, but no one knew them. And they were ancient songs from St Kilda. And he'd studied with a piano teacher who had left the island in the 1930s and had taught him these songs. And he was the only human being who had retained these songs in his head. And a number of Scottish composers got together and began orchestrating and writing down these songs so that music lived on. And one of them, the Stag Lee that we've got from Craig Armstrong, great Scots film music composer, who spends his time between Glasgow and Los Angeles. And it's one of his arrangements of one of these St Kilda melodies. But it's wonderful music, atmospheric, wonderful, beautiful stuff. And also just so important that these melodies are preserved and celebrated. And if you've got the time, there's lots more out there that you can find with different Scots composers that have arranged them, songs from St Kilda.
Can you tell us about the current season?
Our second digital season has just begun. And there's been 9 concerts in total. We get 6 orchestral concerts, 3 chamber concerts, and they're all available online. I think we're at number 3 at the moment, but you can access all 9 of them if you go onto our website. Really, it celebrates the diversity of Scottish life and of Scottish music. So I do hope that as an orchestra, as an arts organisation, we are representative of some of the wider wonderful things, I think, that would be associated with Scotland and with Scottish aspirations. And as I say, at this moment in time, very much at the forefront of people's conversations here about what Scotland is, who Scotland is.
I'm so incredibly excited that the RSNO is going to be sharing its music with us here in Chicago. I've had the great pleasure to go across the ocean and experience the RSNO. Whenever I have the privilege of going back over to Scotland and visiting Scotland, it's just, I think the word that best describes it is inspiring. Those of us that love Scottish music know what it is to have your soul stirred by the sound of the bagpipe. It just shows you how Scottish music appeals to absolutely everyone. And I think that also really ties in with the slogan of the Chicago Scots, that they're open to anyone who's Scottish by birth, heritage, or inclination.
Although touring has been impossible in the last year, and even planning touring at the moment is difficult, we've got very strong aspirations to come back to the US absolutely as soon as we can. It's been a very long time since the orchestra was in Chicago, but I would love to work with our partners in the US to see if we can get the Royal Scottish National Orchestra back.
As a proud and patriotic Chicagoan and a proud and patriotic Chicago Scot, I would be remiss if I didn't remind everyone that the Chicago Scots are, of course, Illinois' oldest charity, that they're not just important for the Scottish community here and around the country as one of the leaders in the American Scottish community, but also an important cultural part of Chicago in general, the Chicago area, the state of Illinois, and it's just, and now, being so visibly a part of, we've always known that Caledonia Senior Living was, a wonderful facility, but to see how they've really been setting the standard and leading the way in terms of best practices during the pandemic, and the incredible care and success that they've had with, keeping everyone safe and healthy has just been, such an amazing experience and something that I'm so proud of. And so I think it's very fitting that it is the Chicago Scots who are the first American partners of the RSNO for this special effort. And I just couldn't be more thrilled.